According to the Reserve Bank, the average South African spends 75% of his or her paycheck on servicing debt, which means that a quarter of people's paychecks on average is used for essential needs. So how much do we have to use of our paychecks to save towards retirement, and how do we ensure that we retire comfortably? This is what I want to discuss in this video today. So let's get into it. So experts say there are about 3 ways that we can use to save towards our retirement. The first one being to multiply your first annual salary by 15%. So say for example your take home is 25,000 Rand a month. So in your last year of retirement, for example, your annual salary will be 300,000 Rand per annum. To maintain your lifestyle, you need to multiply that annual amount times 15. So you'll take your 300,000 times 15, and that will roughly get you to 4.5 million Rand for retirement. If you're hoping to do things that you were not able to do while you were working, for example, traveling and doing things like that, it is safe to say you'll have to take your annual salary and multiply that by 17 up to 20 times, because you're then incorporating other expenses that you were not doing while you were working. So to be on the safe side, you also want to make sure that that multiplier is not 50 times 15, but it's times 17 or 20 times 20. The second one is to save 1 million Rand for every 5,000 Rand per month that you earn towards your pension. You can also get a rough idea of how much you'll need to have saved towards your retirement by assuming that you're going to need 1 million Rand invested in an annuity for every 5,000 Rand. If you want to draw 5,000 Rand per month, that is. So for example, if you draw a monthly pension of 25,000 Rand a month, you will need to have put away 5 million Rand by the time you retire. So for every 5,000 Rand, you'll have to save 1 million Rand of that. So if you want to withdraw every month 25,000 Rand per month, that's 5,000 Rand times 5, then you will need to save 1 million Rand times 5, which means you would have to put away 5 million Rands to live comfortably when you retire. So that is the second method that experts say is a good indicator of how much to put away towards your retirement. There's also ways to do sort of like calculating, if I need 5 million Rand, then how much do I need to put away now for me to be able to reach the 5 million Rand or the 3 million Rand or the 4 million Rand, whatever it is that you want to save towards your retirement. Good financial advisors are able to do this calculator for you, are able to advise you, and I think it's a good idea just to speak to someone who's an expert in this field, and then who's able to then give you the right information so that they're able to give you the right products and all the information that you'll need to make sure that you put away enough money towards your retirement every month. So the third one is to multiply your monthly needs by 300. So the simplest way to calculate how much you'll think you'll need is to then say, okay, fine, if I earn 25,000 Rand a month, and then you multiply that by 300 Rand to determine the lump sum that you'll have to have put away towards your retirement. So that in this case, it's going to be 7.5 million Rand, for example. This option is slightly higher than the first two that I've discussed, and it's a little bit safer if you can save that much towards your retirement. It's a little bit safer to always have a little bit more if you can towards your retirement. So financial advisors are able to then give you advice and to then help you plan out your future. So it's a good idea to also just check them out as well. The truth is that many of us are actually servicing a lot of debt. So the money that we're putting towards our debt or paying our debts could be used towards our retirement fund. But because what happened is that the debt has gone higher and higher and higher, and expenses have gone higher and higher and higher, and the cost of living has increased over the years, but people's salaries have not been able to increase at that same level. What happens is that that margin between your total income and your debt has reduced over and over again. So if we can reduce our debt, then it's a good idea for us to do that, so that we've got a little bit extra towards savings and other things in life, and you can put that away towards our retirement as well. Because also just having a lot of debt is very, very stressful, very stressful, because you have to think about how am I going to pay off this debt? Something cannot happen to me at work or otherwise, because then I'm in trouble. And sometimes, especially if you don't have any savings at all, then you literally don't have any margins whatsoever. Should something happen, like should life happen, then you don't have any margins. Although there are things like debt consolidations and debt reviews, and I've done videos on this. I'll also link that below for your convenience to check it out if you want to check out what those things are, what debt review is and what debt consolidations is, for your convenience. We also need to remember that how much you want to put away depends on the kind of life that you want to live and how much you can afford, and differs from person to person to person. How much I want to put away for my retirement can be different to what someone else wants to put away. So this is a very individual decision that you have to think about for yourself. Another option, while I was doing my research as well, I found that another option was that many financial planners like to use the replacement ratio of 75% of your salary. To set this target goal for this ratio, a good estimate is to multiply your monthly salary by 200. Remember, in the other ones that I was talking about is to multiply it by 300. In this one, some experts say to multiply it by 200. So this is individual to individual, and also depends on how much you want to save towards your retirement. If you want to retire and go to the village and go and live a simpler life, then you may not need necessarily all that much of money, but then also just depends what kind of life you want to live. If you want to travel, or if you want to do certain things, then you have to consider your financial needs for the future when you decide how much you want to put away every single month. For example, if you're currently earning 30,000 Rand per month for living costs and some to spare, in this example, what they're saying is that you take the 30,000 and you multiply that by 200, and it will give you roughly 6 million Rand that you have to save towards your retirement. The 75% replacement ratio is also just a rule of thumb, and it's also based on the assumption that by the time you retire, you're not going to have like a home loan or any other large debt. So hopefully by the time we retire, we don't have a lot of debt that is on us, and then we're not underburdened to pay off home loans or anything else like that. So it's just a rule of thumb, and just think of that as well when you're making your plans on how much to save for your retirement. That being said, it is said that people are living longer, and medical expenses or medical aid tends to be higher as you get older. So you also want to take that into account as well when you're saving towards your retirement, because if you're going to retire at 60 and you're going to live until 90, you've literally got 30 years to survive on this money. So just consider that. And if you also want to be on medical aid, it's going to get higher and higher and higher. I don't know what the cap is for medical aid, but it's going to get higher and higher and higher as you get older. And so also just think about that and factor that into your planning when you want to put money aside for your retirement as well. So good idea to speak to your financial advisor who will take all of these different factors into account. They do a specific profile for you. So that's a great thing about a financial advisor, because it's catered specifically for your needs. So I think it's good to just speak to a personal advisor to also say, okay, fine, this is where I'm at, this is how much I've saved, or this is how much I haven't saved, or anything like that. And then they're able to then tailor a plan for you to be able to save enough to be able to live when you retire. Another thing that research also shows is that many people start saving when they're like 28 years old going up. So you haven't, maybe if you started working at 24 or something like that, maybe you haven't saved for those 4 years. And what happens is that if you save when you get older and older, you basically lost out on the effects of compounding. So if you buy an investment product that that earns interest, you've basically lost 4 years or however many years when you start on the effects of compounding. So the younger you are, the better. But having said that, I'll never ever say that it's too late. It is not. But a financial advisor is the best person to speak to about that. But it's never too late. But if you are young, it's best to start early so that you leave your money in the financial product, you leave it to grow, you leave it to compound, and you leave it to earn the interest, and you don't touch it for many years, and then you're able to reap the benefits later on. It may be so now because you may be putting in a lot into this investment product right now, but it's something that you will pay for now but reap the benefits later, than actually reap the benefits now and spending all of your money and then reaping it later. I think it's better to do it the other way around. So there's 3 basic rules when it comes to investing. The first one is to start as soon as possible. The benefit of this is compounding growth. As your money sits, it grows interest, and it keeps on growing year on year on year, month and month and month, and you will reap the benefits in the future. The second one is to continuously contribute towards it. So over time, you make contributions every single month. You will see the effects of it later on in life. And also always preserve your retirement funds when you're changing jobs. So when you are changing jobs, don't cash out your retirement, but rather move all of it from one company. As you move companies, you move it from one retirement fund to another retirement fund, and you don't touch your retirement fund if you can. That is also just the best practice as well. I did a video on retirement funds and the 2-part system that will be coming into effect on the 1st of March 2024. I'll also link that in the description below for your convenience, just to get an understanding of what that 2-part system means and how it will affect us going forward. Speaking about retirement funds, sometimes people ask if they can access their preservation fund or their retirement funds before they retire, and the answer is yes, you can. If you resign from your job, you are currently right now allowed to access your retirement fund. So you're allowed one withdrawal in your lifetime. So you're allowed one free withdrawal in your lifetime that's not subject to tax. However, going forward, if you do keep on withdrawing every time you resign and cashing out your investment, you will be taxed based on the value of the withdrawal. So there's a tax table that solves issues, and you'll be taxed on that table. And what happens is that tax table is quite hefty, and you'll find yourself maybe paying a lot of tax on the withdrawal of your retirement fund and not gaining a lot of it in cash anyways, and also not reaping the benefits of just keeping your retirement fund up until you retire. But I do definitely understand and sympathize that sometimes people don't access their retirement funds because they just want money for reckless things. Sometimes life does happen, and sometimes you do find yourself in situations where you have to withdraw for whatever reason is happening in your life. And this is why there has been a proposed change in legislation for the 2-part system that has allowing people to access a portion of their retirement funds for emergencies, because the government has realized that people don't have enough savings, people are under pressure, and they are now able to access a portion of those retirement funds. So I am not saying this in any way to judge, but then at the same time, if we can emphasize it, if we can, we save as much as we possibly can towards our retirement, and we don't touch our retirement fund if we don't need it. Like, sort of make it seem out of sight, out of mind, like not even thinking that it's a possibility, but also just living on the monthly income that we make from our companies. And if you withdraw from the retirement fund, when you start a new job, you basically have to start your retirement fund from scratch. So that's also a disadvantage. So if you cash out your investment, your retirement fund rather, it means that when you start a new job, you're starting from zero. So every time you do cash out your investment, you're starting from zero. And the older you get, the less working years you have. So you have to think, especially for us getting older, you have to think about the years that you have left to work and to maximize those, to make sure that you're able to retire comfortably, so that when retirement years are creeping up, we're not stressed out and we've made the right decisions to make sure that we're able to retire comfortably and live a good life. So why is it important to preserve the funds instead of getting a payout? So research shows that the number of people choosing preservation are low, largely because people don't fully realize the long-term implications of their decisions. It is estimated that when people have the opportunity to preserve their funds instead of taking cash payout, less than 40% of them choose preservation. Not preserving is a major factor in people's inability to retire comfortably. This impact is huge because you won't be able to benefit from the effects of compounding and the amount that you've been able to preserve. Another article also says, according to Genesis Analytics, that only 12% of the 6.3 retirees have some form of income in 2022. More than 90% of retirees are unable to maintain their pre-retirement standard of living, and 2/3 have less than 50,000 Rand in their retirement assets. So how do you access your funds once you retire? Currently, what happens is that 1/3 of that you're allowed to take as a cash withdrawal, and 2/3 of that you are required to buy a product that will give you an annuity, which means that you'll be able to get a monthly income from this annuity product for basically earning a living while you're no longer working. So that's currently what happens when you retire. When you retire, they're like, okay, cool, 2/3 of this money you have to buy an annuity, and 1/3 of this you'll be able to cash out when you retire. You have to note that if you've invested in a Provident Preserver fund before the 1st of March 2021, you may be able to make more than 1/3 of your preservation fund in cash. So while it's tempting to view it as a cash payout of any unexpected cash bonus when you retire, saving your money in a preservation fund is wiser in the long term to be able to build your retirement nest egg. So if you are prudent now, you have better retirement option than if you are not prudent right now, because yes, we do live one day at a time, but if you do retire, you also want to make sure that you retire comfortably. Preserving your retirement is also good because it helps you to be financially free when you retire and not rely on the government's payout or your kids to help you to survive when you are older. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.